what we know about history is what we're essentially fed whenever we're in school, whatever classes we take, so on and so forth. World history is something of a bit of a skewed topic. Now, victory has 100 memories, but defeat has amnesia. This I happen to agree with greatly, because who else actually writes up whatever happens but the people who win? Now, I'd like to share a bit of some things I've actually come to notice over the long years that I've been on this earth, ranging from viewpoints from school, some viewpoints that have actually been shared with me by some close friends of mine who take their views from outside the American world, and of course how history is given to us. Now, it's something to note that of how American history is painted is that we are the victors. We are number one. We are fantastic. Of course, that's not necessarily true. It's something that we're just basically shown every day of our lives. Why? Because we are seen as strong. We are seen as the winners. Like take World War II, for example. We were the rising powers who had decided on what happened. Who will win? The deciding power for all, even though we weren't there for all that long. A friend of mine from Bosnia, actually, she was doing some research into how the Holocaust was in the Holocaust. What we have always been told is that Hitler always persecuted the Jews, but it goes farther than that. It goes into people with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, gay people, so on and so forth. But we are never actually ever told that. We are never told what really happens. We are only told from specific viewpoints in time from people who've actually survived and so on and so forth. She had actually found some different numbers for possible victims and so on and so forth. This had actually startled me. And I straight out told her that, and she flat out told me, well, you're American. You're expected to believe that you're the best place ever, even though you're not. And it got me actually thinking, when I look back on my U.S. history book at the time, what part of this is actually true? We see so much of our history that we don't even question it. We don't question the viewpoints of those who have fallen. We don't question the viewpoints of those who have won. We don't question if there's any viewpoints in between. We just have to accept that the solid fact that we won, there's no consequences, and that the defeated will never get a say. Again, our world wars seem to have a constant history of this. Like World War I. How did it all start? The assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Not even German. And yet Germany ended up walking away in defeat because we needed somebody to blame. We always need somebody to blame. We always need somebody to put in the hot seats of people of who's actually responsible. We need somebody to accept defeat for whatever has gone wrong. We always need to have a victor, no matter what. And daily life can be seen as this as well. Like, not everything has to fall underneath of how viewed in the world. You can also take it from your viewpoints in like your own daily life. You're the strong person, you win, you're awesome. The people you defeat in like daily life stuff, not awesome. You'll never understand how they begin to feel about it. If we can't learn from those who have been silenced in defeat, then how can we ever learn in the first place? We just can't.
All right, well, the starting point about history was okay. The tie-in to the quote was fine, but your transition to that topic could be a little bit smoother. Your purpose statement is a little abstract. You do have some secondary points that you preview, but I think you could use some numerical signposts on them to clarify them. And in the body of the speech, I didn't think that they were nearly as distinct as they sounded like they were going to be in the introduction. So, part of that may be that you didn't really set up the clarity of that of those points at the beginning, and so they're not as noticeable during the presentation. The content, I think, and I got this down here at the bottom, I think you can kind of get lost in your ideas sometimes. I think you've got an idea that you want to make here, but articulating it and clarifying it don't always come out the way that you have it in your head. I think as a consequence that you end up kind of going in circles in a couple of places, repeating ideas and concepts without any particulars to talk about. I like the idea of having a different point of view and maybe even kind of approaching it with a little bit of cynicism in your voice. That's okay. But I think that you need to be able to back it up a little bit more with some concrete illustrations, and as I said, it really feels like it stays pretty abstract in the content that you're developing, and sometimes it's pretty repetitive. The presentation issues, you project adequately, it flows pretty smoothly. Your gestures are limited sometimes because you've got your hands in your pockets. Your facial expressions, you're usually somewhat animated, although far be it for me to criticize people's fashions, but I think you need to put your hair back behind your ear so that we can see your face occasionally, because sometimes it just comes down across your face and it cuts us off a little bit. Your eye contact, I think you tend to be focused on me. I think you talk to me a lot, and I'm not sure that you talk to the rest of the audience quite as much. And that's natural. I'm sitting here with the camera. So it's not that you aren't looking up and out, but it is that you are not necessarily engaging the audience. You're just trying to speak up. And so I don't see it as an anxiety issue. I just see it as being maybe a little bit negligent to the people that you are interacting with. The summary was a little vague at the end, and I think that that's a good place to point out where you seem to have gotten tied up again with the point that you were trying to make, and those ideas being so abstract, it just sounds repetitive and still vague. So contents, I think, where the issue was the biggest problem. All right, thank you. Crystal Lynn, you came in. Could you come get a topic and send Riley in, please?